I hope some of you have heard of the story of Abu Mahdura. He embraced Islam when he was 15 years old. And the very first interaction that he had with the Prophet ﷺ was because he was mocking the adhan. Now many of us, if somebody mocks the Prophet ﷺ or the adhan or religion, that's when, we go into like our aggressive mode and we're like, how dare you, how could you? But that wasn't the way of the Prophet ﷺ. He wasn't reactive. He wasn't defensive the way that we are. One day, Abu Mahdura, along with his friends, they were hanging out, and he heard the Sahaba calling the adhan. And so they started to make fun of it. And Abu Mahdura has a loud voice, and so he started to imitate mockingly the adhan that he was hearing and repeating the words to make fun of it. But ironically, he had a very beautiful voice. And so rather than getting negative attention, and rather than getting mad, the Prophet ﷺ was impressed with him. Even in that dark and ugly moment, he was impressed. He saw the positive. And so he called him over and his friends. And he asked, whose voice was that? Okay, now they're busted. Right? The Prophet ﷺ is there and he was saying, okay, who was doing it? Who was making fun of the adhan? Whose voice was it? It's a bunch of teenage boys. Guess what they did? Nobody wants to take responsibility. They want to point fingers at each other. So they all said, no, it was him. It was Abu Mahdura. So they all pointed the finger at him because nobody wanted to be punished. And they didn't want to deal with the consequences. And the Prophet ﷺ said, repeat after me. And he taught him the adhan step by step and word by word, from beginning until the end. And then he took his Mubarak hand and he touched the head. He rested his hand on the head of Abu Mahdura and his body, and he made a dua that may Allah bless him. Now this is another level, because can you imagine not only wanting to take retribution, somebody is mocking your message and your adhan and your prayer, and then to treat him well, to teach him, to pray for him, to show him love and affection. Understanding that somebody is learning that behavior from somewhere else, but not to react that way, to show him a better way. And so the young man, here he is, he's hanging out with his friends, he doesn't care about religion, he doesn't care about spirituality, he's not involved in the debates of the time, he's not in the social circles that are talking about the message, he doesn't have anything to do with religion, but something struck him in his heart. And he immediately embraced Islam because of the love and the mercy and the dua of Habibullah, of the beloved of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said, at that moment, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became the most beloved person to me. He was totally irrelevant. He wasn't like some of the others who were filled with hatred. He didn't even care about the Prophet and any of that. But he said at that moment he became the most precious person to me. He asked the permission that can I be the mu'adhin of Makkah. He was appointed as the mu'adhin, and his family, and there are, until the last few years, his descendants and grandchildren and great-grandchildren have been continuing to call the adhan in Makkah for more than 1300 years. Because of that love, that you have thousands of people from one family all connected because of the power and the beauty of the adhan. And this is a testament, brothers and sisters, a practical example of how personal interactions have impact. Mercy and love can defeat all kinds of hatred. But in order to even think about that, You have to open your mind and your heart to see goodness in the person that is doing wrong to you.